Just an extraordinary play. And then Mark Sanchez, watch him here on the play action, breaking tackles. He's just remarkable.
Everything comes off schedule. You can't grab this guy. He's just so elusive in the pocket. It's really impressive to watch.
That was like intramural flag football.
Right?
For me,
It's pickup basketball. It's backyard football. Run to the Cadillac and turn around. Like, this is crazy.
But in this case, it works. Let's show you how the game is decided. Fourth quarter, Seahawks are down 5 on a 4th and goal. Is he going to run it? No, he's not. He's going to flip it to Chris Carson, who hangs on by the hair of his chinny chin, if you will. They would survive a missed field goal by Greg Zuerlein at the end, and the Seahawks with a 1-point thrilling win at home. And we look at the numbers here. Wilson was magical last night. He had 130 yards and 2 passing touchdowns when throwing on the run. According to Next Gen Stats, both are his highest total in a game in the last 4 seasons. And if you're just joining us here, we spent a lot of time at the beginning of our program sort of breaking down the game and how the Seahawks looked and how the Rams looked. At the end of the day, these are 2 good teams in a division that also has San Francisco in it, who's unbeaten. You'll see them Monday night. And in an NFC where a wild card bid is going to be tough to get.
Right.
So I'm going to ask you sort of a big picture question here. Between Seattle and the Rams, who you got? Who do you trust going down through a long season? Which is really going to wind up being the better team?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Seattle because of Russell, because of the fact that right now he is in a zone and playing in such a way that really is indefensible. As long as they are not riddled with injuries to a degree that really just hamstrings this football team overall, and he's able to stay healthy, Lockett's able to stay healthy, DK Metcalf's able to stay healthy, this team's going to be tough to contend with because he can do things that you just can't game plan for. And that's not to say that the Rams won't make improvement, especially defensively, which is where they need to tighten up things on the back end. But I think Russell adds such an X factor that I'm going to give them the nod in what will be a tight race for
What do you think, Mark?
It's going to be tight for sure. How much did he miss that field goal by?
Greg Zuerlein, yeah, by an inch.
If he makes that field goal, the narrative today is this is not a sustainable way for Russell Wilson and this offense, right? I think.
Yeah.
It's tough to do what he's doing day in and day out. Every week, that's really hard. But look at Jared Goff. Let's not forget, this is a very good team. He took this team down there against a decent Seattle defense, against one of the best front sevens in football, and he marches them right down the field twice. Everett almost blew the game early, gets a redemption shot, makes it, and they won the games in the bag. Zuerlein hit a 47-yarder earlier.
When you talk about sustainable models, though, Jared Goff has thrown almost 120 passes in 2 games.
117.
Is that sustainable? That's a concern. Is that sustainable?
Well, why is that happening? Again, let's underline that. Jared Goff has thrown 117 passes in his last 2 games. In that time, Todd Gurley has 30 touches.
Yeah.
I brought this up yesterday. I'll ask it again. What's going on?
I think it's twofold. Number one, the interior offensive line play for the Rams is not very good. It's not. They love to run the outside zone. One of the best ways to blow up the outside zone, besides setting the edges, is blow it up from the inside out. And their guards aren't very good. So you know what happens when that happens? Play callers go, I'm not running the ball anymore, because that's just what they do. So when they're strapped in and they have those headphones on, they're going to say, we're going to start throwing.
It does. It freaks you out as a play caller. We're not getting the push we need up front. Okay, let's throw it because Jared's playing well. I understand that. Last year, they used that run game to set up all of his play action stuff, and that's where he was deadly as a passer last year. He's a younger, maybe better Matt Ryan. I mean, he's a really good player.
Yeah.
So they definitely have a chance to make a run at this thing. But like you said, it's a tight race. And don't forget San Fran. Yeah,
San Francisco, again, unbeaten to this point, and we'll see them Monday night and see what they have for Cleveland. Meanwhile, back to Sneaky Hembo. I love this question, and I don't envy these 2 guys having to try to answer it. The Packers and Cowboys will meet on Sunday. They've played 8 times in the playoffs. Guys, what is the most common playoff matchup in NFL history?
You go, take a crack, you start.
Can I go Cowboys-Niners? Maybe I'm just a victim of like the 80s and 90s.
What do you think, Vilma?
I'm going Bears and insert another team. I just want to be right on one of them.
All right. Well, he was closer than you were. The answer is the Rams and the Cowboys. Rams-Cowboys have met 9 times in the playoffs, including last year. Chalk up 1 more for Hembo. Let's talk about those Cowboys in the meantime, and let's go on the field. Dallas, of course, suffering its first loss of the season last weekend when the Saints held them to a season-low 10 points. It has created a lot of conversation about their quarterback, but Dak Prescott is confident his team still has the right mindset heading into a huge game Sunday.
You walk around this locker room, and I think I said it when we were 3-0 or whatever. This team's not really, we can't focus on that. We know the potential of this team. We know how good we can be, and we can't focus necessarily on what the record is. You take the good, you take the bad, you live and learn from it. and you get better because of it. So everybody's just been in with the mindset of getting better, however we can.
So he has a knack for saying the right things. He is saying all the right stuff there, and he's sort of been the subject of so much yelling and screaming on this show, which doesn't usually happen, and everywhere else where it usually does, about just how good he is. But the key for them, obviously, is to get Zeke going against the Packers. Do you expect him to run the ball effectively?
Zeke is the beginning, middle, and end for the Dallas Cowboys. And one of the things the Packers love to do, Greeny, 5 and 6 defensive backs on the field against a physical runner like Zeke. Not a great recipe. Let's take a look at it. You see the 5 DBs up there, 2 linebackers. Watch Amari Cooper here and Tyron Smith, the blocks they're able to spring and put him in an advantageous situation. Zeke is attacking the line. Tyron Smith does a great job of walling out, but Amari Cooper does an unbelievable job of finding a way to seal the defensive back, allows him to outrun the linebacker and find pay dirt for the touchdown. Let's take a look at what the Eagles did to the Packers. 6 DBs on the field, only 1 linebacker. Did this a ton on Thursday night. Look at the push that we're going to get up front by the Garden Center. And then look at Nelson Aguilar doing a lot of what Amari Cooper did earlier. Jordan Howard puts his foot in the ground. Great push, opening up a huge hole. But it's the second level blocking of Nelson Aguilar that's able to spring Jordan Howard for the big game to ultimately set up the touchdown. 5 and 6 defensive backs on the field regularly for Green Bay. Gave up 156 yards to the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday night. If that's the case in this Dallas game, Zeke is going to have a huge night.
Is that a defense that makes sense against the Cowboys, though? I get playing one style against the Eagles. Can they play that style? Do you expect them to do that and have all those defensive backs on the field against Zeke?
Not to start the game. The emphasis is going to be getting Zeke involved early. Look at what the Rams did with Todd Gurley. They made sure he got his touches. Now the difference is Zeke, he's healthier and can break it and go the distance. So I don't see the Packers going in the 6 defensive back set until later on in the game.
And then the question will become, and again, I don't want to start everybody yelling again here. You were here for that yesterday. You witnessed it up close. If they make this a game where Dak Prescott has to beat them, do you expect him to be able to beat a good Green Bay defense?
If they can't run the ball, it's going to be difficult because the Packers defense is really good on the back end, tight throwing windows, and if there's not play action for Dak, he could be in trouble. And that's one of the things that troubled him against New Orleans. They couldn't set up that running game, so the play action wasn't working. It's difficult. The one other piece for Dallas, Lyle Collins, Tyron Smith, both not practicing. And so that could be a big issue coming into this game if both of those guys aren't.
Now, it's important to note, we're not saying Dak isn't a bad quarterback. He's a good quarterback. But if you had your druthers and you had either the run game or Dak, you want Dak to beat you. You don't want Ezekiel Elliott going for 150 yards. So, yes, the first thing is to stop Zeke and then make Dak beat you.
Well, we just talked about how critical last night's game was in the NFC. This is a huge game coming up on Sunday. Meanwhile, let me get up and go, and let me talk about my favorite guy. That's Sam Darnold. He practiced again yesterday, working his way back from mono. He's been practicing with a custom-made brace to protect his spleen, and he acknowledges the risk in possibly trying to return too soon.
For me, it's about it's a tough thing because you want to stay safe. I want to make sure that I'm safe out there and that I'm not going to die.
Well, there's a cheerful thought. Mark Sanchez, what do you make of that?
Kid, I know he's doing everything he can to get back. He'll be fine, but let's be smart with this one, New York. Let's be really, really smart. This is your franchise guy. Take care of him. Might want to give him an extra week.
Yeah, this even goes beyond that.
Yeah, we don't want him to die.
We don't want him to die. Of all the possibilities, that seems like the worst possible option. All right, let's get up and go to preseason basketball. The Rockets and Clippers playing in Hawaii in a game that tipped after 1 a.m. Eastern time. Neither Paul George nor Russell Westbrook played, but they seemed happy to see each other. Kawhi didn't play either. Harden played 28 minutes. He had 37 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists because he's James Harden, and the Rockets would win the game. Get up and go back to baseball, where the Mets made a move yesterday, firing manager Mickey Callaway after 2 seasons. They were 86 and 76 this year. That's 9 more wins than the year before. But he faced a lot of criticism all year long for in-game decision-making, and it was not a huge surprise that they would make this change, and so they do. But if you think about it, with Callaway being fired, there are now 7 teams that currently don't have a manager, and some of them are very notable and interesting teams to watch. Okay, let's get to the other game from last night in the National League. We talked about what happened in Atlanta. Let's talk about this one here. Let's talk about the Dodgers taking on the Nats. And that early, as I run to grab my highlight, is Cody Bellinger coming around to score, and Chris Taylor being thrown out. Take another look here. This is in the 5th inning. Mac Muncy hits this ball, and it's going to get through the legs of Howie Kendrick. Kendrick throws the glove in disgust in the dugout as the Dodgers take a 2-0 lead. In the 7th inning, it's Muncy again, this time with the bases loaded and a chance to break it open. And Muncy is going to do exactly that. That's a base hit. Jock Peterson's going to score. Justin Turner is going to score. Muncy drove in 3 on the night, and the Dodgers take a 4-0 lead. Now, bottom of 8, the lead is 5-0. Jock Peterson at the plate. And Jock Peterson has just left the building. This one is off the foul pole and right, which is actually the fair pole, and the Dodgers cruise to a 6-0 win, and they take game 1 of the NLDS. All right, as we continue here on Get Up this morning, what is going on in Washington with Jay Gruden? Why can't he decide who the quarterback is? Our guys are fired.